I'm Joey.T.Cartoon.P, and you're watching the Cartoon Palooza. This month, it's all about the love. And what better place to talk about the love than with a cartoon channel that I adore a lot. One channel that's been dedicated to good animation programming since the 90s. No. Close. There we go. Cartoon Network has done so well since the 90s with Dexter's Laboratory and continues to do well with shows like Adventure Time. But you've seen the title of this video and you know I'm going to be talking about something that differs from that. So before I go and talk about that, let's talk about a little concept we may know, but sometimes forget about. The concept of optimism versus pessimism. Optimism is rooted in positive outlook. Situations that may not seem great can be looked at from an optimistic point of view. The age-old, if God gives you lemons, you make lemonade. One of my favorites is, if a studio spends $100 million on toilet humor and taking a dump on a respected author's work, you have his spouse forcing filmmakers to never make that mistake again, leading to better movies. Sort of. Pessimists see it the other way around. Bad situations are highlighted and even affect things that don't seem that bad. What the hell is this? A Lego movie? Are you kidding me? This is just gonna be a giant commercial. Okay, well, it's spinning off a Lego Batman movie? That's gonna be worse! You see my point? It ain't wrong if you tend to see things from a negative point of view. It's mostly based on experience or a lack of experience that determines how you look at something. How we evaluate these expectations to the reality is when it's important. This goes back to a good scene from a movie I just happened to review last week, where two characters discuss the likelihood of things turning out alright.
Well, at least we try to be optimistic.
Optimistic? Somebody untie the knot in this guy's cord.
I'm bringing all this up because a lot of people have been looking negatively towards Cartoon Network, mostly indicating with the loss of good programming like Regular Show and soon-to-end Adventure Time, in favor of shows like Teen Titans Go and the Powerpuff Girls reboot that seems like Cartoon Network is going down the crapper. You heard that right, folks! Cartoon Network is gonna die! Yeah, it did okay when we had live-action programming, canceled countless other shows, and even a whole block like Toonami. But this is where Cartoon Network is gonna officially die. And no, come on, no. Guys, Cartoon Network's gonna be fine. Trust me. This has happened before. This is not a big deal. There are a few reasons I have that go from personal to fact. The first is the obvious. If it were failing, then why are people still watching the shows? I understand with the Regular Show not getting renewed for another season that it seems like they're putting the show on the chopping block. And the same for Adventure Time and Gumball. I would be mad, but here's the thing. The show made it to 8 seasons and a TV movie. The same goes for Adventure Time, which is even more justified since the show indicated that it had a complete story with an ending in mind. The irony to all this is that this isn't the first time it's happened. Back in 2009, when it was announced that both Chowder and the Marvelous Misadventures of Flapjack were not picked up for a 4th season and was expected to end by 2010, the current lineup was in favor for a live-action block. Yeah, I know, Teen Titans Go is not a good show, but you gotta give them some credit. It's a cartoon. The irony with the Regular Show ending is that back then we had another long-running show end the same way. Ed, Edd and Eddy came to a close with 6 seasons and a TV movie. Coincidental memes aside, it paralleled the Regular Show in many ways. Long-running shows that lasted over 5 seasons including a TV movie to wrap things up. Regular Shows was modeled after a limited series, but they had the same idea when it came to tying together all the show's loose ends that made the resolutions feel worth it. Despite this happening in the past, Cartoon Network has a great way of experimenting and reaching out to new things. Cartoon Network's major shows came out of series like What a Cartoon that kickstarted the production of shows we know and love. Ironically, Nickelodeon took this concept with Oh Yeah Cartoons and found a similar success with their own programming. However, the way Cartoon Network seemed to handle this was better, to the point where a similar program in the late 2000s was utilized to bring us pilots like the Regular Show and Adventure Time. And yes, before you start beating me down in the comments section, I know Adventure Time first premiered on Oh Yeah Cartoons on Nickelodeon, and for a long time was expected to go there, but somewhere down the line, they chose Fanboy and Chum Chum and left Finn and Jake to Cartoon Network. Truth be told, I don't regret the decision since, you guys probably know this by now, I didn't think Fanboy and Chum Chum was as bad as everybody made it out to be. But it had a tone more appropriate to what Nickelodeon was airing, while Adventure Time seemed to fit easily with Cartoon Network's lineup. And this doesn't just go for individual shows. Cartoon Network experiments with their own blocks. Toonami didn't start the same way we know it for, and was focused mainly on featuring action cartoons that Ted Turner just happened to own. Later it would expand into anime, and the rest is history. The same goes for Adult Swim, and yeah, let's bring up the live action block again. I think I understand why Cartoon Network pursued live action programming. I probably know this more now in hindsight than I was when I first heard about it. Nickelodeon had its share of good programming between the cartoons and the live action ones. The difference is, that's how they started. It took years for them to build that reputation, along with the Disney Channel. Any new fan or old one would go to Cartoon Network to watch their favorite tunes. But now they're showing game shows, basketball highlights, and whatever the hell they were going for. They could have been good, but the point was that they were doing something radically different. The funny thing is that this doesn't just happen on TV, but also in other mediums. Recently, many comic book fans have complained about Marvel's current comics because of the new characters they're putting in place of old ones. Some people like to point out the diversity aspect of it, but there's another reason that a lot of YouTubers have been pointing out.
They feel cheated. They feel like Marvel's coming along and saying, you need to read this. All right, this is the only thing you don't have any options here. You don't have any choices. Name me the last time you were okay with somebody coming along and telling you you didn't have a choice in a situation. No one's ever okay with that. It's just the way people are.
The problem is that they're taking away characters we've grown up in favor of new ones we're expected to like as much as the old ones. The problem is that they're not the same characters. I don't expect to go to Pat and Gino's Steaks to get a gluten-free pizza. I want a greasy, carb-filled cheesesteak. But when they take that off the menu and have gluten-free pizza selections, I'd imagine people getting upset. But here's the thing, I don't hate gluten-free pizza. In fact, sometimes I like gluten-free more than regular pizza. But I'm not going to Pat and Gino's to get that. So I am getting kind of hungry and I'm going to go order a pizza, but I want to wrap this up soon. So let's go ahead and talk about Cartoon Network's willingness to experiment, but the fact that it's a double-edged sword. The issue people have is that there isn't enough experimentation when you fill up your lineup with nothing but Teen Titans Go and the Powerpuff Girls. The thing is that I don't think this is gonna last. In fact, going through today's programming and 1 hour block of Teen Titans Go as opposed to a weekly marathon I saw 2 years ago, if you guys want to fact check this, feel free to do so. All I'm saying is I'm not noticing the show as much as I did in the past and when I made my last review. If this were a case with the live action programming, they would have kept it, but they didn't. It was a short-lived experiment that we're proudly busting. I keep bringing up 2009, but truth be told, the way people talk about the network now is very similar to how people felt back then. I was just getting back into Cartoon Network thanks to the two shows Chowder and Flapjack. One was a wacky collage of things I love: food, Mediterranean design, stop motion, and Tex Avery fourth wall breaking.
No money means no animation!
What are we gonna do?
And I mean a lot of great fourth wall breaking. Chowder was a fun show that knew what it wanted to be and took risks that highlighted what I loved about Cartoon Network as a kid. The same goes for Flapjack, but I think I need to talk about other things about that show in another video, so be patient. Either way, both shows were airing around the time people claimed that Cartoon Network was going to fail. But guess what? They didn't. I'll never forget both Christmas specials airing an ad for two shows that would later come. One featured a boy and his dog dancing like they were in a rubber hose cartoon from the 30s with bright colored pastries. The other one featured a bird and a raccoon looking like they came out of a Mike Judge cartoon. I didn't know what they were going to do, but it gave me hope that continued to last with me today. And this is regardless of me bringing up that Samurai Jack is going to be coming back for another season, and yet people still think Cartoon Network's going to fail. Like, seriously? Come on. This is why outweighing the pros and cons come in handy, because regardless of being an optimist versus a pessimist, if you can see the good that can come out of something, it's worth bringing up. So do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Comment below and let me know what you think. I'm Joey Tedesco and I'm gonna go order myself a gluten-free pizza. So comment below and let me know what you think. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? What is your current favorite